Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the show. This is Option Trading Concepts Live. My name is Nick Battista. Got my man, Mikey Butler, and of course, Mr. Ryan Grace in the house with us today. And if you want to come join us, hop over to YouTube, type in Tasty Live, come to our channel, give us a like and subscribe to our videos because it helps us immensely. But more importantly, just come chat with us live because we'll be taking questions throughout the show. Whatever you got questions on, strategies, concepts, trade ideas, trade management, crypto, whatever. Just come hang with us for the next hour of the day. My favorite hour of the day. Spend it with my buddies, Mike, Ryan. Good morning, gentlemen. Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing well. Nice to see you guys.
Yes.
Likewise.
Good weekends, presumably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Played a little golf.
Ooh,
Went to a tiki party.
nice.
That was fun.
How was the golf game?
It was good.
Yeah.
I started off double, triple.
So
Then
you know.
the cart girl came around. I got a twisted tee.
Ooh.
3 pars in a row. I ended up with 7 pars and a birdie. And then I was like leaving, and the cart girl came around. I was like, "Listen,
You
twisted
saved-
tee saved my life."
Game changer.
Yeah,
I like a twisted tea.
Yeah.
Well, it gets a bad rap.
I love it.
Yeah.
It was necessary.
It's an easy drink.
But yeah, fun weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful weather.
Our last one before Seattle.
True. Seattle this weekend.
You
We'll miss you.
feeling a little FOMO?
A little bit, guys. A little bit. I'm gonna miss you out there.
I know.
I'm gonna miss you here while you're out there.
We'll
Hey,
miss you
wish
too.
you could come.
No doubt.
Yeah, I've never been to Seattle.
Oh, really?
Uh,
Did we do Seattle last year or 2 years?
Yeah.
Was that last year?
Seattle. Yeah, Seattle was last year. We stayed across from GameWorks, and we went to GameWorks.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made them go to game.
Our
Have you
hotel
ever
was
been to
across from GameWorks.
no.
It's like Dave and Buster's. You've been.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they have like Dave and Buster's is all like little coin games, you know. At GameWorks, they have like the big game, you know,
Like
the
multi-level games.
multi-level games. It was a thing in like,
I'm Googling this right now.
yeah. I remember one that was, I think it was in Arizona. That when we used to do like vacations, we'd go to the GameWorks, and it had a 3-level shooter that you were like strapped into
and it would lift you.
and you'd like go to like
What?
different levels. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I guess I don't understand what you mean by multi-level games. I thought you meant you progress through the game and there's
No.
different levels. Like you have a boss, first level, you get to
These
second
were like
level.
roller coaster / games, like not roller coasters, but they would like, you know, you'd be like going through the shooter and you'd go upstairs and then it would like slingshot you to the next level and it would be like different enemies. And if you got shot, you'd be moved down. It was very like
Damn.
interactive.
Okay.
So I saw that I thought those were all gone. I thought those were like relics of past times. And there's one in Seattle.
Still there.
We went to it. It was disgusting.
Across from the
I mean,
hotel. So we were like, well, obviously we're going to end up
Yeah.
here.
Have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a couple drinks. And, yeah.
Does Seattle still have the Chaz, I believe it was called?
The autonomous zone?
Yeah, the autonomous zone. Is that still a thing?
I don't know. I have not seen a news
You guys
update
like
for
just,
Chaz.
you know,
Was
take
it
a little bit
Chaz
of a
or
trip.
Chad?
I think it was Chaz, C-H-A-Z. Yeah. See if you can find the autonomous zone. I'd love you to report back.
I don't know.
That's why I was looking forward to Seattle.
No, we
I haven't been. There's a fish market and there's the autonomous zone. Those are 2 areas I
those are
wanted
the
to
two
check
things.
out.
We did the fish market last time. That was fun.
We did. Yes, that's a staple.
We'll do that again.
Always got to go. But yeah, Seattle's a fun spot. It's a smallish city relative to Chicago, but
Here it's beautiful out there.
it is. It's nice.
Quick trip though.
Yeah. But yeah, if you want to join us, August 10th, Sunday, we will be there.
Yes.
Totally free. You can sign up on tastylive.com/events. And yeah, it'll be the second traveling show for us.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we will miss you. Baby watch is in full effect.
It is. Yeah, I've got a couple weeks left, guys. And then that's it.
Are you doing like the trainings, like the, you know, where you have to like hold it,
Learn how to
or
hold
like,
it?
Yeah, or like take the baby around. Like, do you have to hold? Will we have a little fake baby at the office soon?
No, but I did go to Northwestern and do a couple classes. So my wife and I did a couple 3 hours on a Saturday
Wow.
classes past couple of weeks. So I've learned how to hold the baby. You have to support its head,
Yes.
believe it or not.
Yes.
And a couple other basic tips and tricks that they give you.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Very nice.
So you're ready.
Excited.
Yeah.
Excited. Another tasty baby joins the fold.
Yeah.
The servitude begins.
From day
It's
one.
an offering to the tasty gods. We bring you a grace.
Yeah, we'll get him on camera here soon enough.
Yeah.
No problem. 10 years.
Yeah.
10, 15 years. 10 years is a little. Vinny will be here soon.
Yeah. Naturally.
Good stuff. Well, we got a face ripper of a market as everybody thought it would be, right? After the craziness of last week, the market memory gets shorter and shorter by the minute. It seems like it seems like it is a minute now. There's no sort of follow through at all ever. E-minis up 80 here, high of the session, 63.45. We've basically reversed all of Friday's move in just a couple hours here. NASDAQ up 375. It's the strongest of the group. You got some big moves back in Meta to near highs. Microsoft as well was up, $10, $12. Apple catching a little bit of a bid after a little bit of weakness on earnings last week, bouncing off that 200-ish handle. Amazon's really the only one on the downside. You even got Tesla catching a bid today, up $5 and change. Been another little bounce back rally we have here. You got the Dow up 485 and the Russell up 33. So the Russell and the NASDAQ, the strongest of the group, presumably because of the move that you've seen in bonds. We've gone from no cuts to rate cuts to holy crap, we need emergency rate cuts, recession in the span of 48 to 72 hours. It's been very, very quick. The narrative switch there. Bonds are at the highs here, 115 and change. Oil has had about a 2-point intraday range today, but we're back to the mid 60s. It was in the 70 handle. Again, another one of those like recession things, oil coming down, not going to need oil anymore because we're all poor and unemployed. Volatility futures 1850 here, down $1.41, about 7%. They've reversed pretty much the entire vol move as well. The VIX at 18 and change here. Gold and silver continuing their upside move. Gold's up $30. It's bounced about $100 from the low that we saw in the middle of the week last week. Silver as well bouncing back a little bit, not as strong as gold, up 48 cents. And then Bitcoin looked like it was going to be more painful over the weekend with given the Friday move down to like 113, 114-ish. Now bouncing a little bit today, 115 and change here. The spot is at 115. Futures a little bit higher, up 2,100 on the futures. Spot up 600. It's quickly over, it seems.
Yeah. I mean, look, regardless of whatever the backward-looking economic data shows and the revisions there to non-farm payrolls, some of the tariff headline risk that we saw as well. Regardless of all of that, if you recall, last Monday, we basically said we've had a hell of a run into July here. Technically speaking, I'd want to see a pullback to 35, maybe 34. That would present an opportunity. I look at certain indicators. I know we don't talk about a lot of this on the show, but conditions were overbought short term. You'll likely do in ETH and in many other tokens, right? We look at the move in XRP, for example. You were likely due for a pullback. Regardless of what that catalyst is, short time, you got the pullback, and we need to keep an eye on it. But buyers are seemingly showing up here at these levels where we would expect them to show up. Yeah. Our 1 week, one standard deviation move at the time was roughly 110 on the downside, a little bit higher above 120 on the upside. Right now, I think it's about the same, call it 108 to 120. So I think that's the top of the range there that you might look for on a trade here, get you back up near all-time highs. So I'm not surprised by the price action one bit. Keep an eye on the VIX, right? We don't want to see an expansion in volatility here. If this is truly a very buyable dip, you want to see the VIX break back down, underneath 18, 17 here, not the 22 or so handle that it was just at. I'm not overly concerned, guys. I think you're heading into or are in, again, an economic environment that's just relatively conducive to higher prices in assets. You're looking at a complete repricing of interest rate cuts, and now that's based on this fundamental day that we saw. But if you get that, I do think it's going to be supportive of assets. Not every single day or every single week, but generally speaking, I think the trend continues here. You're seeing that in terms of bond prices. You're seeing that in terms of gold here. You're seeing a little bit of shift in the dollar as well. And I think
dollar reversed pretty much that whole move.
Yeah, I think this is an environment in which you want to own some of those assets that we just mentioned. You want to own crypto still here. You get those scares every now and then, but I don't think anything has really changed from where we were last week, right? Because a number that was reported based on data the month prior just gave people a catalyst for taking some positions after one hell of a run throughout most of the month.
We don't really get to your view on equities, but do you think, are you in the same boat for equities as you are with crypto in terms of like just kind of more upside?
Yeah, I think so. In the intermediate term, yes. Yeah, I don't think that you're in an environment where you're seeing this, at least not yet, and that data could change, right? But given what we know today, I don't think that you're seeing a complete slowdown in growth and inflation here. I think you got, a data point or two, a risk headline, a risk off headline that was a catalyst for some profit taking after kind of going up almost every day.
Yeah.
So I haven't changed my view there. I like to keep a close eye on sector performance, relative performance from that perspective. So if we start to see more defensive positioning outperform, that might be one signal. If you start to see that from a factor perspective as well, right? And ultimately you see positions that are more volatile get taken down, you see more of a risk-off move, then maybe there's more to this. But given the price action that we're seeing here today, as you mentioned earlier, there's no follow-through. I think, again, this was just a dip that presented an opportunity. More so, when I look at crypto, I'm a bit more focused there. But generally speaking, I don't think much has changed in terms of the direction that we're going in. And now you're seeing a bit of a repricing in terms of interest rate cuts upcoming.
Yeah. I know that we'll get to it with the slides, but it's been through the big name earnings of like Meta and Microsoft and we had Apple and Amazon, and as a whole, it's been a lot of upside in those. I mean, like Meta and Microsoft, I think was like 750 billion or something combined between them, which is massive amount of dollars. And then kind of the rest of the market's been kind of a chop fest / down. Like it's really been led by kind of the big name stocks in equity markets. And we've said this for a while because that's kind of been, the story is the top 40 or 50% account for, 80% of the gains in the market. But are you seeing that in the crypto space of kind of the bigger names staying where they are and kind of some of the juice being squeezed out of the lesser names?
Totally. You're seeing the same thing where, Bitcoin and ETH look a little bit better than, let's say, Dogecoin.
They have their day of weakness, a couple days of weakness, totally normal, yes.
Yeah, and we'll go through the signals and you'll see that some of the momentum has gone back to neutral on the daily, on the short term. But when I look at the broader structural trends that are in place here, there's no shift or change in any of the signals there. We haven't seen those trends break down. Now you need to see it go from bullish to neutral on a daily time frame before you start to experience that on a weekly or monthly basis. But I'm not seeing anything that's really cause for concern at this point. Aside from a big move, you had a really large, and going back to equities for a second, really large implied volatility premium in there, right? You look at what the VIX just did versus 30-day realized volatility, and you had a very significant premium in there. You're seeing some of that vol come down. You're seeing a little bit of volatility selling here today. And maybe this is just a one-day bounce and you see, continued selling pressure. I just don't think you're in an economic environment yet, or there's an awareness of that by the market where there's some broader slowdown underway. You should get some interest rate cuts at some point here, and the market is repricing that based on that fundamental information. Yeah. But again, I'm not personally overly concerned for what it's worth.
Yeah, and we were talking about that last week. We hadn't seen a 100-point sell-off in months.
I think it was like 20
long time.
2 trading sessions without a 1% move in either direction, like closing 1%. I think it was just kind of a
Yeah.
We had some big moves to the
Yeah.
upside, but there was no like outlier move.
Yeah. But looking at the last 2 days outside of today, we did see some big red candles, but we talked about last week, we were looking at volatility, and volatility was only up like a point, which to me is like, okay, if vol's not reacting more, then I would not be surprised to see this kind of reverse over time. This is a big move today. But volatility not spiking after the 2-day sell-off we saw last week was further confirmation of an assumption of maybe this is just a little pullback here, but the trend continues unless something else unravels. But the unraveling should be paired with a bigger volatility spike if we're to expect it to continue to the downside. We'll see. If you want to join us on YouTube, we're streaming live there. Pop over to the YouTube chat. You can throw in your trade ideas, questions. I've got the Cherry Picks newsletter in there. I'm going to put the Tasty Crypto newsletter in there. Both
thank
free
you.
resources. Absolutely. But yeah, let's walk through the slides and we'll get back to the questions in the chat.
Cool.
All right. Crypto update, August 4th, my friends. Let's jump into the first slide here. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So we've got that weekly pullback that we were looking for. Smaller market cap tokens are down more than the big ones. No surprise. That's typically what we see. Bitcoin has been outperforming. So really not much has changed week over week. If we look at those momentum price signals, so I use these exponential moving averages, and when they cross over different time frames, use those as buy and sell signals, bullish, neutral, bearish signals. This a week ago was pretty much all green, so not surprised to see on the size of the move. If you look at where we've come off of, call it 120 or so, with Bitcoin down to 114, 113, we're a little bit higher here. You do get that shift in momentum short term. It's more so the weeklies that I always focus on. If we see those quickly, and that's the other piece to this, it's how quickly do you shift from one market environment to the other. If we were to see a big move that would push these averages in a way where you went from bullish to immediately bearish, that gets your attention. First on the daily and certainly on the weekly. And then the larger structural trend that I want to pay attention to, just to be on the right side of it more than anything, is that monthly trade. I'm not seeing any real changes here when we look at the weekly time frame. On the daily, you've got a little bit of a pause in that upward price momentum. Ethereum has been an outlier. We haven't seen the price break down as much. Solana is a little bit weaker. But aside from that, nothing really stands out to me too much here. I mean, when you look at where we were on a 3-month basis just a couple of weeks ago, in some cases we were well up over 100% for some tokens. They doubled in price. You're seeing a little bit of a pullback along with the rest of the market. There is less of a correlation recently between equities and crypto markets. But when you do get that volatility pop, you expect to see it in all, volatile risk assets. And that's certainly what we saw here. I don't think they're all the same thing. And so it presents a little bit of an opportunity. Certainly, if the view is in that 3 to 6 months, we're going to be in a very different interest rate environment, a more stimulative environment. I think that kind of gets some of the juices flowing. I think that ultimately is supportive for crypto prices and where we could go in this cycle, as we've talked about, right? We have all these shows where we're saying, yes, and interest rates are still 4.5%, whatever they might be. They could come down. That's going to fuel them higher. Well, and now we're seeing a shift in the probabilities of that, and we're all worried.
Yeah.
No.
It's finally happening. We've had this question for quite some time, and now it's basically set up.
So don't freak out. Stick with the trend. When the trend changes, when you have new information, react to that information. I don't think anything has changed here. Model the volatility and trade those ranges accordingly is the way that I'm approaching it. And I think that in the short term, the bid that's come into the market is encouraging in that we're not seeing, going back to equities, a lot of follow through here today. You're not seeing that move lower in rates coinciding with selling pressure across everything else and strength in the dollar. You're just not really getting that broader risk off move that you might expect when you do see these things kind of play out. So I think for now, I'm still comfortable buying dips, have been active in things like ETH, a little bit of Solana, even though, again, that's a little bit weaker on a relative basis, Bitcoin, and looking to trade still some of those volatility levels in ETH-A and IBIT could present some trades. So if we just keep going through here, you'll see, to answer your question earlier, Nick, are we seeing more weakness outside of some of the majors? And absolutely, that's what you see. So as we go through to the next slide, a little bit different picture here. Your 1 week moves are more volatile to the downside as they tend to be to the upside as well. You've got some stuff that I just absolutely stay away from right now. Now, if you want to try to pick a bottom, sometimes you can get it right and you time it and you do get that move in Aptos from $4 to $5 and it feels good. But I want to stick with what's working, and there's been a couple of these, Shiba Inu, Aptos. If we jump to the next slide, you'll see a few more that I'd probably just stay away from right now. But that's been the theme, at least up until this point. I believe that most alts have bottomed. That's the way that I would trade this market. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you get completely out of something like Bitcoin, which I would never do personally, and jump into a smaller market cap token.
Those are like this is how you trade around your Bitcoin holding, is via these smaller ones. Like they're just like little trades. And we've talked about that before, of like kind of dabbling in a lot of them and taking profits as they move.
Yeah, they're fun to trade, but I don't have a large, let's say, investment position in them. Whereas I might with Bitcoin. And if we jump to the next slide, you'll see the same thing. It just gets worse as you get into some of the smaller alts that are, again, a bit more volatile. I would stay away from Polkadot, Polygon, Compound has been weak. Yeah. On the other side of that, Hedera, HBAR, has been relatively strong. And so as long as you're not seeing a complete breakdown in momentum across multiple time frames, I would have a bit more confidence in buying the dip in some of these things that are going to be very volatile, both on the downside and then again on the upside. Mm-hmm. You're going to get that 20% pullback. You could get that 40% bounce off of there. Probably want to keep those positions a little bit smaller, depending on how you you tolerate risk.
Yeah, you got 125% implied vol, so it's telling 124%.
And that could go a lot higher.
Yeah, especially into the up moves.
Exactly.
The up moves, it gets even bigger.
Jumping to the next slide, guys, this is another important one that I like to keep an eye on, and that's our relative performance. And so what we're seeing here is we've had Bitcoin market cap dominance around 61, 62. You did get momentum start to break down there. Before I really would call, full-blown alt season, I'd want to see that weekly shift to red. I'd want to see the monthly breakdown, and then I think you're kind of off to the races and, again, can feel a little bit better about buying some of this other stuff. ETH BTC, relative outperformance has been great over the last 1 and 3 months. You can see when you do get these pockets of volatility, you see outperformance in Bitcoin, at least you have historically, right? There isn't a rush to buy the more volatile, smaller stuff. You kind of see a shift or kind of a bid to, if you want to call it bid to safety in some ways. You see a little bit of Bitcoin outperformance, which is what we saw over the last week. And what we've seen, generally speaking, year to date, Bitcoin's outperformed just about everything. But you have some pretty strong signals now that I think you can, again, feel confident in a broader rally in ETH, as long as these structures remain. Solana on the other side versus Bitcoin, we got a quick kind of bounce there, and that's quickly been sold off as well. Solana versus ETH is underperforming. So the way I use this, how is ETH performing against Bitcoin? Better. Okay, then how is Solana performing against Bitcoin? How is Solana performing against ETH? Right now, if I had to pick how to allocate, it would still be largely in Bitcoin and then ETH. Or if I have to make a decision between ETH and Solana, it's probably going to be ETH at this point. That doesn't mean there won't be some oversold conditions.
Basis.
Absolutely, right? I just want to stick with what's working. There's not a ton of fundamentals to go off of here. You're not looking at this as, it's going to report great earnings, or we're in an earnings cycle, we're going to see accelerations.
ETH and Solana. Solana's what is it, 50 billion, 40 billion market cap right now?
Yeah, it might be a little bit bigger than that. I'll have to double check here.
I mean, so it's still, can't you make the argument that, it's the underperformer of the batch, and maybe there's more, like if you're bullish on the space and the big names in the space, there's a little bit of a catch up there. contrarian aspect to it. I know that we look at it momentum-wise, it's certainly not the one.
Yeah, and I think you could absolutely see that. I would use then on the next slide here, I would use those 1 week expected moves. So if you get down to that level there and you don't see a change in volatility where volatility is breaking out and possibly on a downside move implying more downside, I would look to kind of wait until you get to that 150-ish level. Well, maybe it's 155. You know, you're never going to be able to perfectly tick the bottom. But I think that's where I look for the trade setup. And then additionally, when I look at Doge priced in Bitcoin, that's really underperformed. And so it's not giving me any signal that, okay, you're seeing a lot of outperformance or any outperformance in many of these meme coins, smaller market cap tokens. So for now, the trades that have worked continue to work, but you will have some trade ideas at times in some of the smaller cap stuff. But the stuff that's been working has been Bitcoin and ETH here recently. Looking at our volatility dashboard, vols come in a little bit. You've got some slightly higher IV ranks as we've shifted on a 3 and 6 month basis into timeframes where vol is lower and lower. So even though those low volatility levels that we were measuring against higher ranges in the past were low, those same low levels are going to give you a higher IV rank now that our ranges have tightened up a little bit. That said, realized vol is just
nothing.
Zero for Bitcoin. 25% annualized based on the last 30 days of price action.
Need that big green candle.
We do.
The big one, the God candle.
And
the 20K candle.
We might get it at some point. There's been a lot of positive stuff that's been happening in the background. I think especially on the regulatory front that I guess you can't price in every single day, but we shouldn't ignore regardless of what kind of short-term risk-off headlines pop up. That said, vol will come higher at some point, but today your volatility levels are still pretty low. Implied vol at 37%, regardless of whether you get a slightly higher IV rank now off of that range, is where it was last week. Could go much lower for sure, but on a 1 year basis is almost zero. Your expected moves here give you some slightly lower ranges and slightly smaller 1 week expected moves. Look at Bitcoin. We're closer to 6.5. Now we're under 6 on the 1 week, 1 standard deviation move. But those are your expected moves. And again, that's the way that I would kind of trade some of this stuff, right? For Sui, for example, was buying some around 350, even a little bit earlier. If we get a move back up to close to $4, probably take that trade off. So I've got some that I own closer to 4, some that I own closer to 350, but just looking at it as a trade.
Yeah, and IBIT has been, we talk about Bitcoin's realized volatility and how low it is. When you look at IBIT for premium selling stuff, you're still getting 50% IV, which is low, but it's not nothing, especially relative to other products that are $65. So it's still been a great trading vehicle and short premium vehicle for the last couple of months for sure.
Yeah, you get the theta decay in there. You've had the implied premium. So even though it doesn't do much, day to day it burns off, and you've been very profitable selling premium.
Yeah, I'm playing both sides.
Yeah,
and playing into that skew, you have that massive upside skew. But just thinking out loud here, the implied volatility difference that you're seeing in Bitcoin versus IBIT is that it has to do with the longer duration kind of options that you have in IBIT, I imagine, right?
Yeah, this volatility that we're taking is just coming from Deribit.
Okay.
So you could do the same analysis, and we can pull that in here too. Going forward, I'll pull the IBIT in there. So this is just looking at Deribit implied.
Yeah.
But we can look at the IBIT options as well.
Do you know how liquid their markets are? Like, do they go how far out in time it goes? How many strikes? I know it's like spot based, and so it's kind of like a cash secured market, right?
Yeah, I don't know how far out in time they are. Pulling it up right here. Let's see if I can get you an answer.
Yeah. My guess is it'll be.
I think it's very liquid though.
Yeah, I would guess that it would be shorter duration because the longer duration stuff probably pumps upside volatility into IBIT options. Like you can go, IBIT has December of 2027 options, and so all those options, the vol of those options is so heavily skewed to the upside that it's naturally going to bid up the actual implied volatility of the product because it can only go to zero. And 3 or 4 years out options. What is
from what I can tell here, it looks like Deribit lists options out to June 2026.
Okay.
So that might be, per your explanation, that might be the reason there.
Was part of it. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the IBIT December 2027s are big juiced.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
$800 for the furthest out of the money strike.
Yeah. Which is a double.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that is the trade. If you have a long-term view, you put on that position, you own the underlying. Now, you do have an expense ratio, but that's more than covered by the premium that you would get from selling that, I guess it's the farthest out.
135 strike. It's a double in Bitcoin.
Yeah. But then again, we're talking about Bitcoin possibly going to
$1 million.
Right. And you never know. Yeah. I've got a lot of people that are on the desk that I talk to that complain at times about the good trades that they have with covered calls, but those short call strikes being $20 in the money as the stock goes higher and higher after earnings.
Yeah. But IBIT's like a volatility product. Like I wouldn't sell those options unless we saw a 20% move to the upside in a week.
Yeah.
Because then you're really getting, because you'll get the pop and vol. And first of all, they'll open up more strikes. Then you could sell the 200 for $800. Like if that's what happened, you would get the premium boost to the upside. And now it makes a lot more sense to sell those into the rip versus now selling a long-term option right now into this low vol environment. You're asking for, the situation that we hear all the time. I have this losing trade, but it's really not. It's just you hedged to it.
You haven't made as much as you could have.
Yeah.
What is the per strike vol on those longer dated options? I think that's the other way that people should probably look at this is look at per strike vols versus just the smooth
55%.
Yeah, so that's really low, right? So now exactly like you're talking about, obviously it's higher than the at the money vol or it's higher than your smooth VIX style calculation of 30-day. But if you get a move, like we could easily see short-term volatility go to 60, 70%.
Those are going to go to 150.
Yeah, and those
are going to 3x.
Absolutely. So it's a cheap option.
Yeah.
It's probably better to own it, honestly.
Yes.
Right? Do you think Bitcoin can double in 2 years? It costs $800.
Yeah.
Put that, and then you might see that $800 double on a much smaller move.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the way to approach these sort of
buy it all.
Yeah, buy them all. I think going that far out is a little tough because you also have a lot of risk based like the options, the gamma on those options is not that great because it's already priced in that that probability is relatively high. So like the December 17th option, when we look at a delta, so your 50 delta option in December of 2027 is at about 100. So, and that's just because of the pricing of the options. And this is a good discussion because the market is pricing in higher prices. And so you're paying for that pricing in. And when the underlying asset moves, you are already buying that delta. You don't have a lot of gamma on that option.
Yep.
The 1 year options are going to be those 2 or 3x increases in prices. These ones will go up. They're just not going to explode like you'll see with shorter dated options that might be at the same strike. The volatility is priced into that, which is
and you can see a similar structure in the VIX. If you look at the furthest dated cycle in the VIX, it's the same structure. It's obviously different, but your 50 deltas at 25 or the spot price is at 17.99.
Yes.
So the market is pricing in upside moves and the volatility to absolutely be to the upside in IBIT.
Yes.
I've been trading 95 calls in IBIT out in November. Just out towards the end of the year when you get these pullbacks and they kind of cheapen up a little bit as one way to do it. They're trade under $1 right now.
But you're trading them. You get that pop back.
Yep. Yeah, you buy it at 75 cents, it goes to $2, you sell some, you wait for it to come back down to $1 to 90 cents, whatever.
Yes.
Rinse and repeat. If you get it, doesn't mean it's going to work every time,
No.
but you've seen a little bit of an opportunity in there.
Yeah, we've all been talking about that. It's just the paper cut that you get on the sideways moves for a couple days is far less than that one. You get that 1 day move, that pop in volatility, more than accounts for it. So
Yep.
I'm with you in that sort of trade.
Cool. A couple more slides, guys. Last one is just a look here at short-term cross-asset correlations. A lot of noise in the 3-week or 15-day period there. There is a positive correlation. It's nowhere near the highs that we've seen. What we've typically observed, as you guys know, is that when the VIX spikes and you get that broader sell-off, we'll use April as an example. Those correlations tend to go 50, 60, 70 even. When we look at the correlation between Bitcoin and the SPY, you're at spot 2.7 right now for a 15-day period. Long run average in there has been about 40% correlation. And then with volatility, less of an inverse correlation right now. But if you do get sustained selling pressure, you easily see those back up 70, 80%. No correlation to gold at the moment, no correlation to the dollar, no correlation to bonds. Short-term, low positive correlation to equities. That's kind of what we're seeing. And then finally, one more time, stablecoin funding now available. Yes. Development team on the Tasty Trade side has been hard at work over the last couple of months, grinding away to make this possible. And over the last 2 weeks, it's been a great launch. So if you have stablecoins somewhere, you want to deposit them, it's instant funding 24/7. That buying power is immediately available, whether you're in the U.S. or you're outside the U.S.
Saturday, Sunday, midnight,
Round the clock, baby.
1 a.m. Doesn't matter.
Fund whenever you want. It's a beautiful update to the platform. So if you do have an account that is eligible for crypto trading, that's an individual cash or margin account, looking to expand that as well. But to start with, individual cash or margin account eligible for crypto trading, enable crypto trading, enable crypto transfers, and then you can deposit one of 4 stablecoins: USDC, USDT, Ripple, Ledger, US dollar, and PayPal USD, PYUSD.
Awesome.
Yeah, especially beneficial for crypto available countries internationally because you avoid the wire fees and all that stuff with this. So smaller fees, we should say.
Anything fun on the crypto world coming to us soon?
Still working on adding more tokens to the broader offering. I think recurring purchases go into testing this week, so you'll be able to set up recurring purchase. We have recurring deposits today at the brokerage, but let's say you want to buy $50 of Bitcoin every week, every month, whatever it might be. You'll be able to set that up every day, every hour. Put it on autopilot, and that'll just run for you. And that's the precursor to recurring purchases for equities at some point here. So a lot of work that's being done there. You'll see some changes to the interface, the order tickets. We know that there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the broader user experience for the crypto trading side of the business. So that's all in place, and working on some other things as well that should be nice additions to the service in the near term.
See it.
Very good.
Beautiful. Popping over to the YouTube chat now.
Yeah.
I see it is.
I love this one. Got to get the crypto guy a posture chair. Absolutely. I don't think anybody realizes what kind of setup this is over here. So this looks like, I don't know how well you can see it. It looks like a bar or something, right? This is like a bookshelf back here. It is a bar.
It is a bar.
A bunch of
it has shelves.
So my knees are smashing up against these shelves. I got my feet on the second shelf in here, and I'm in this Quasimodo hunchback position. Hey guys, look at the expected move.
We'll work on that.
I should just stand up.
Yeah, Thomas has the same problem too. I mean, it's just tough.
This is so much better. But then I'm in this chair that's got this U shape. So it's just crushing my back.
Yeah, we got to work on that. We got to
get the chairs where you're just laying down with the 8 monitors. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, thanks for the shout there. See, then it's like I got to pick up the microphone to talk into it. I can't sit too far back.
Voice, you want the microphone.
J Grad, thank you for that. Yeah.
We'll work on that. We're gonna work on that. I'm gonna talk. Hey, we love you.
Got injured at work today.
Yeah.
Hey, that could be a nice little bonus for you.
Don't even speak that into the air because it will start happening. My back's like a 70-year-old.
I'm just gonna sit here and just hold this microphone like this.
Yeah, that view. I don't know about that.
Too funny. What is the correlation of Circle and crypto markets?
Oh,
I can run it for you real quick. We want Bitcoin Circle.
You can you can do it with the stocks.
Oh yeah, I got all sorts of programs over here.
I love it. You got a team of nerds working on all your.
Oh, this is just me using different software.
Yeah.
So Circle probably hasn't been out for more than like 30 days, right? Yeah. I don't have a 90-day. Let me see what the 60-day is.
Yeah, it was June, middle of June was the.
Okay. All right. So on a 30-day basis, I've got really no correlation. We just don't have enough data here.
There's so many other dynamics.
Yeah. Negative 0.04.
Yeah.
So 15 days. 15 days is probably more relevant. 43% of the time it moves in the same direction.
Yeah. Okay.
But one is a stable coin issuer and crypto is crypto. Bitcoin is Bitcoin, right? This isn't even like if we were looking at a gold miner and gold or a Bitcoin miner and Bitcoin. I think a fair correlation or comparison would probably be Coinbase. Coinbase has really never had a negative correlation to Bitcoin, right? That would be somewhat unexpected. If I look at the last 252 days, trading days for Coinbase, the correlation between Coinbase and Bitcoin is 66%. That's over a 1-year period. On a 30-day basis, it's about 50%. So most of the time, it's going to be moving, or the majority of the time, it's going to be moving in the same direction. But again, you have company-specific risk with Coinbase. They could have an earnings announcement and the stock price could sell off regardless of what Bitcoin's doing week to week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Were you surprised at the move in Coinbase on earnings despite numbers being good?
Yeah, I saw that it was a little bit lower. I honestly don't follow the company that closely in terms of, what were estimates, what were expectations for revenue, trading activity. Sometimes it's one number or another that just sets off some of that selling short term. It also could just simply be that
market dynamic
thing just ran up so much. Now you get your answer. Okay, it wasn't any better than expected. There were no upside surprises, and selling begets selling. It starts to feed on itself. That is a big move, though. 400 down to 300. But
I mean, it went
quite a gap there. Off
it
of
went
that
250 to 400 to 300.
Yeah.
So like if you held for 2 months, you're up 20%.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, this is similar vol at times. I think it's more volatile. It's got to be more volatile than Bitcoin
for sure.
Right?
It acts as sort of like a MicroStrategy. I mean, MicroStrategy has far less of an actual business compared to Coinbase, but they both act as volatility proxies for the Bitcoin space.
Yeah, I've got a 60% implied vol for Coinbase. Let's see what the realized is here. Just 1 second.
Yeah, Coinbase took a beating on the
Mini's high of the day, up 83. We've almost reversed the entire move.
Yeah.
So wait, what was yesterday?
Yeah, 30-day realized for Coinbase is 92%, and your 10-day, just to kind of encompass that earnings move, to give you a sense of how volatile it was, 10-day vol is 104 if you annualize it. So a lot more volatile than the 25% 30-day annualized that we're seeing in Bitcoin right now.
Scramble everything saying ape-like posture.
Yeah.
Hodlers.
Like I walk on all fours. That's gonna be the only way I'll move around the office after this.
Fun fact about Jay Grad is it's my girlfriend's cousin.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He's in here smashing the like button, smashing the hearts.
Supporting the boys. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. We're both excited for the Bears season this year. I Things are on the up and up.
We get Hard Knocks this week.
Oh,
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's got a countdown on his phone, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm taking the
You're
day
taking
off.
the day off, yeah. Wednesday, the Grace brothers come in a little loopy.
Yeah, juiced.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think it's Hard Knocks is always fun. I love all the players, regardless of the team they're on. They've got great personalities. They have fun. I mean, you got to have fun. You're playing professional football. You're making millions of dollars to play a game, right?
Yeah.
You can't be pissed off about that.
No.
It's like us on here, not making millions of dollars, but we get to do a show. We can't be pissed off about that. We have fun on here.
Beautiful life.
Yeah. Let's see. H-bar is the future.
Oh, yeah.
H-bar is the future. It's hashgraph, not blockchain. Speed, security, scale. Millions of 2PS security possible. It's amazing. I'm not sure if that's an ad or...
Yeah, did you just read a free ad?
I have done that before.
I know you have.
Yeah. I've made that mistake.
Pump it.
What do we got? What would you do if you could sell a leap option to finance something like enough to pay for a cortado?
What? I got a question for you. I'm going to ignore whatever that was.
I think I'd go the other way. I'd want to be long,
Yeah.
like an in the money. I'd do the poor man's covered call,
Yeah.
long something with more duration and sell short duration against it to finance it.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. If you're selling near-term premium, that's great. But if you're in a crypto product, buying the leap, you have a much higher probability of making a good amount of money if there's a rip.
How much liquidity comes in? Are you okay? I think because
Now
they
it's
brought
in
it up
your head.
now, it's really
man.
bothering. We'll get that.
Conscious of this now.
Yeah,
Like, you're
no.
right. My back does hurt.
Yeah. Don't think about it. It gets worse. How much liquidity has to get pumped in on a day to really move some of these things? Like, what do you see? We can promote my friends at H-Bar. Like, what comes in to pump that 100%? Like, what kind of liquidity? Is it $1 billion, 500 million, 100 million, 50 million? Like, what kind of moves stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess to start off with, we can just look at, and this is why they're so volatile, right? Their market caps are tiny. The whole space is tiny. There's not much money in it. You could trade futures and other derivatives, but it's kind of long only, or everybody sells at the same time and unwinds those positions. So it all moves together. So I think if you look at Coin Market Cap or CoinGecko or anything that's going to give you the market cap, right? I mean, these are really small stocks in the S&P 500. Once we get outside of the top 10, number 10 right now is Cardano, has a market cap of 26 billion, if I'm reading that right, 26 billion. So once you get outside of that, top 20, 25 here, Monero, 5 billion. Like $1 billion, if you were to get that in there, is going to absolutely move this thing. On the other side of that, I think we could use the flows that we've seen into Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs, right? You look at the recent performance and just line that up against the inflows. July was one of the best months on record for ETF inflows. I think Bitcoin and Ethereum combined, it was like 11 billion into those products, which is not a ton, but ETH is only 445 billion. So you can get a bit of a squeeze given a couple of things, right? So the money coming in needs to be there, obviously, but you have auto liquidations on short positions that occur in the perps markets. And so you see some of these moves amplified or exasperated in some ways. You have a lot of illiquid supply too, right? To Bitcoin this time, we don't really see a ton of sellers. We've had some larger whales in terms of what you can track on chain. We've had some larger whale wallets that have liquidated some positions or have moved to exchanges, presumably to liquidate. We talked about Galaxy, the OTC desk, facilitating some trades there. But generally, a very large percentage of Bitcoin's supply doesn't move.
Yeah.
You know,
So
people,
there's the liquidity on the sell side isn't there.
yeah. And then on the buy side,
It just
there's
comes
no
in.
sellers,
Yeah.
right? So like you've got to buy it at higher and higher prices if you want to get a big order done. And I think that, again, that has an outsized impact on some of this stuff. So what size move has to come in? Tough to say exactly, but you know, you go back as well to the selling pressure we saw when we were like, the Germans are dumping on us.
Yeah.
And this was back when you had crypto that was seized
They
by different authorities.
confiscated when the
Right?
Germans are done.
And so we were seeing 10 to 15% moves, if I recall correctly, like within a week or 2 weeks, where it was maybe 2 billion in assets being sold. You know, I think
Just a drop in the bucket.
yeah, we have a different market environment now, especially the one we're in currently, where you've seen this gobbled up, right? The market can absorb some of that. We saw the Galaxy sale, estimated 8 billion, 9 billion, whatever it was. Market ate that up pretty easily. But yeah, it's a few billion here, a few billion there on a short-term time frame can swing this around a little bit.
And then a lot of it, do you think is like on the smaller stuff? You think it's like just piggybacking? You see some, you know, in some coin that's $4 billion, $3 billion, and you see somebody come in to buy 5 million. You know, like kind of like on like it's just a small little. I mean, it's something, but on a $5 or $6 billion coin, then you have the people that see that they get a notification or whatever happens. That's kind of like a piling in.
Yes, I think it's the same thing with equities and meme stocks at times where
get some social capital.
You can catalyze a pump, but you're not going to be able to turn around and sell size into that without resetting the price back down to kind of where it was or where it came from, right? The thing goes from $10 to $20. You can't just turn around and unload everything at 20. If you do that, you're going to send it right back down to 5 or 10 or whatever, where it started. But it's fun in the meantime.
Yeah. As long as you stay small, it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no mortgage payments, you know.
Well, I mean, it's just if you're a larger institution, a bigger fund even, you're probably not in this smaller stuff because what are you going to do in there?
Yeah.
You know, you want to do things.
You don't have the liquidity to put 10 million.
Right. I want to do a bracket order or a contingent order where I can come in here and I can unload on a time series where I'm not going to move the price much. So I can get the desired price I want by selling or buying little chunks over a defined period of time versus, I've got a $2 billion order. You might work that in the market for a period. It's not just going to be, one trade, obviously. And that's the same thing in equities.
Would you consider selling a put in MSTX? Daily target 2x long MicroStrategy ETF.
I forgot that we were doing that.
There's a suite of MicroStrategy stuff now. I can't even keep track of all of them. There's like multiple different funding sources. It's become there's a web of liquidity outreach.
Yeah, I mean, I don't personally use a lot of leverage. This stuff is volatile enough for me.
Yeah.
If you're rip-roaring bullish, sell a put in a levered ETF and then buy the calls too.
Yes, you do.
With the proceeds.
We call that the stupid.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
my favorite.
It's an IV of 72.5% right now. Realized is probably up there. I don't trade that stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're super bullish, I would consider it. I think it's, for me personally, it's easy just to not use as much leverage.
Yeah.
You could go in there and load up on, that's the other thing. Like, I think people focus too much on some of these ETFs or the different companies that are now buying this stuff. You want to go balls to the wall, go into the futures market. See, they're like, get into one of those big CME contracts if you have the capital or even the micros. Like, I think it's, probably 3x leverage.
I think even more.
Coinbase Exchange does 10x intraday perps now. Yeah. I mean, if you want to swing it around, the levered ETFs are 2x, like, sure, but let's go higher, man.
Yeah. The Bitcoin, I don't even know if they still do the ETH one. Do they still have that one?
Bitcoin's 5 coins.
Yeah, it's 5 coins. So it's a 500K notional. You can, you get about 50, 60% leverage. And that's in my Reg T account. If
Right? Like, I mean, let's do it. If we're going to do it, let's do it.
Yeah, you're putting up 25, 50K for that.
So ETH is
50 coin.
Yeah. This is big. The max loss on a short put's 170 grand in ETH. So it's around there.
Yeah, I don't know if you sell it. Yeah.
So yeah, 10,
You just buy the
20,
contract.
30, 40. Yeah, that's a lot of coin.
I mean, you got to get your kicks somehow.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to get exposure.
Yeah.
And on
Stay
that
small
note,
out there, despite.
yes.
Look, man, I got one rule: trade once, trade huge.
And then
You guys are all over here like trade small, trade often.
you'll know when he hits his one trade, that'll be the
will be
last
signs.
show we have with.
There will
with
be
Ryan.
signs.
There will be signs.
Love to see it.
Yeah, you guys were like 7, 8 years old walking around with those shirts from JCPenney. It was like, go big or go home. You know,
Yeah.
if you don't practice, you don't deserve to play.
Yeah,
And all those things on there. There was like the and one shirts.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man, go big, go home.
Yeah.
Swing for the fence.
Only winners get trophies, that kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Well, another lovely Monday in the books. If you want to reach out to us on Twitter, you can certainly do that. I'm at Trader Mikey B. Nick's at Trader Nicky Bat. Ryan's at Ryan Fred Grace. We're going to get him a posture chair ASAP.
Yes. Might need a chiropractor too.
Yeah.
I'll give
Well, you got one.
I got one.
Yours is a spicy one.
He's a spicy one. He's a little kooky. Little kooky.
Give Tasty Crypto a follow as well. I've got the links in the YouTube chat. The one pinned at the top of the YouTube chat's for the newsletter for tastycrypto.com. Sign up for that for free. Also got the cherry picks in there. But yeah, we'll be back same time, same place, 11 a.m. Central tomorrow. We'll see you then. Peace.